This is a Stribog, or a Stribog, or Strubog. And this is a Stribog, specifically an SB9 A3G, the Glock Mag one. Has an 8-inch barrel, roller delayed blowback, familiar controls, and a good shooting experience for the price. However, whether it's the 8-inch models or the shorter 5-inch ones, the ergonomics feel a little bit like gripping a 2x4. Likewise, there's not a lot of mounting space for accessories. And while it's a great platform for suppression, especially the roller delayed bottles, suppressors get very hot, and guns tend to hang near your giblets. Kinetic Development Group is known for their FN SCAR parts, but they've recently given the Stribog several useful offerings, including an extended knurled charging handle, barrel extensions that can be pinned and welded for compliance, and this, the SRX6, which I can only assume means Stribog Receiver Extension 6-inch, or Surly Rapscallion Xylophone 6-toes. Alongside their 3-inch SRX3, this features a much larger diameter with more mounting options than any other handguard I can find. Fit and finish is excellent, and it looks factory. The only giveaway is under certain lighting, the finish appears slightly blue in contrast to the Bog. This isn't unusual. In fact, my buddy's POF Renegade Plus has the same effect between the upper and the lower. Now I am running a suppressor on this. This is a Lone Wolf Eliminator 45 cal, and it is modular. So it goes back to right here. This is the tip of the 8-inch barrel, and that's about a 9-inch suppressor. But because it's modular, I can take sections out of it and make it shorter. So I could pull it out here and put the cap on and have it with just a little bit of poke. Now, KDG does mention that whenever you buy these, you should buy it either to run with a suppressor or to run with one of their barrel extensions, because otherwise, if you grip near the end of this and fire, your hand's gonna be exposed to a lot of hot gas. I hope that's obvious, but it's worth saying. The extension is mounted with both M-LOK on the exterior in the back and interior to a 4-screw block that adds a lot of rigidity. Despite this, it's still relatively light, and I think it's the coolest, bestest upgrade yet for the Stribog. If. There's an if. This episode is brought to you by Extar USA. Big thanks for their support. They're a massive help. Now, usually I'd take this time to tell you about their EP9 and what a bargain it is, or how good their inexpensive Glock mags are that can be had for as low as $9. But the ATF is trash, and I've been getting a lot of questions about how Extar will proceed with the brace band. So I'll point your attention to their blog, and they offer their take. That's linked below. Check it out. Personally, I think it's gonna die in legislation, so I'm not doing anything other than encouraging my representatives to oppose it with all their might and praying. Ammo is provided by Global Ordnance. I shot mostly Bellum 124 grain, which is great stuff. Check out my links below. It helps me out, as does a like, a comment, and subscribing for future content. I put a lot of time and effort into these for you. Now, this isn't sponsored content, but I communicate heavily with Global Ordnance, and we've talked several times about the ban. Now, they import Grand Power products and are working very hard to create compliant versions of the Bogs for you. Now, fortunately, by replacing these Slovakian-made mags with American ones, the magazine housing, follower, and baseplate count as domestic parts and makes it compliant. Problem is, there aren't any American-made options, so they're working with a supplier to create a clean slate curved mag. And they've already found some options for the Glock-style ones. Now, in addition to your outrage for tyrannical overreach by 3-letter organizations that should not exist in the first place, let's put that same energy into supporting and encouraging companies like Global Ordnance, Extar, SB Tactical, and countless others whose businesses, livelihoods, and years of hard work are at risk, and understand that most of them will not offer legal advice nor openly recommend that you disobey laws. But I will. Okay, back to the handguard. I've found it to be extremely comfortable, and it looks incredible. I have a sling mount, pick rail for a light, and some textured grips. I'll probably add a laser at some point, and if it was an SPR, there's plenty of room for a vertical grip, unless you just don't care about unconstitutional laws. Installation was very straightforward, and the directions are very good. They kind of build it up at the end as being really difficult. They're like the pits of despair. But honestly, if you just follow directions, it's very straightforward and easy. Now, there is an if, for now, maybe two. The extensions are not intended for the shorter 5-inch model, yet. The SB9 A3S only has 1 row of M-LOK, and the handguards utilize 2 to mount. KDG says they're working on a solution. Now, to be honest, I was more excited about the prospect of a tuck suppressor on this over the G, but sometimes, It's just how it be. Now, you could mount it, just to be clear, because the mounting block that goes inside the receiver will fit. You just won't have the rear mounts hooked up and it'll be less rigid. Now, I do recommend the extended charging handle because it sticks out past this raised up piece and it gives you a better purchase. Now, speaking of purchase, this seems like a good time to say that I didn't buy this. Kinetic Development Group sent it to me for testing purposes and feedback, and now that I've tested it, I have some feedback. It's fantastic. It's my favorite upgrade by far, but, and there is another but, let's recall the other gun they make parts for, the SCAR, which is not cheap, and neither is the MSRP on this at $270, which is quite a bit more than the rail extensions you'll find for the Scorpion from HB Industries, Midwest Industries, Strike Industries, all the industries. So while it does transform the appearance and function of the gun, it should at 1/4 of the cost. Thanks for watching, and while I'll never argue against cool guns and lots of training, make sure you're doing more than just worst case scenario prep. Otherwise, worst case scenario is all we can expect. What do I mean by that? I mean, there are a lot of people out there who are blinded and led astray by the lies of this world, and they think they're doing the right thing. We gotta remember that truth can be a transformational thing, and sharing it with grace can be the difference between an enemy and a brother. That's the gospel. Evil is not just going to vanish in our lifetime, but a gentle answer can turn away wrath. So again, keep buying guns, keep training, but above all else, recruit for the kingdom.
283.